All right, shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bagashem, Yahweh Shai, Bagashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutation unto the hopeful elect, the 1/3 of Yasha Allah, upholding the laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability. Peace and salutation. This is the brother Bakwasha. And by these short clips, the title of this lesson is going to be called Protect Yourself at All Times. And obviously, I'm talking about spiritually because we're in a war, you know, and, the scriptures go into it, and the scriptures are here to prepare us for it. But if you don't know that you're in a war, you can be sucker punched, right? And this is one of the agendas, okay, of the devil, man, is to sift you, and one of the ways in which the devil can sift the hopeful elect is if you don't protect yourself at all times. And so I have a handful of scriptures. Obviously, there's been an uptick. There's been a surge on the left-hand side of power, which is wickedness, okay, from Esau, the so-called white man, and all of his sorcery, enchantments, and witchcraft that's being done through his media, because with the invention of his technology or his miracles as spoken of in the scriptures, it's now visible to the globe, everything that's going on all at once. And quick story, and then I'll get back to the lesson. But the other day, I was having a conversation with my earthly father, and, he's still in the world, but he was talking about how one of the men that he listens to or that he admires was talking about how these devices called cell phones are really hell phones. Now, obviously, his thought process on hell is different than what we know spiritually. But I bring that up because 20, 30 years ago, people were infatuated with the technology of Esau. But now they're seeing that, and he brought it up. He said, if something happens in California, 20, 30 years ago, it would be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before we even found out. He said, now I could find out things that are happening across the globe within a second. And I remember some time ago, I believe it was one of the apostles that spoke of it in regards to how if someone were from the ancient world were to come back and look at these cell phones and just the technology in which is before us today, they would ask the question, roughly paraphrasing, what kind of sorcery is this? Because in ancient times, people were dispersed. You may know your neighbor because they lived on the same region, and you all maybe had shared the same lake or the same stream, right? But there was not as great of a community, right? Even going back to, what that word means in itself, right? But there were, but things were more rural, right? You didn't have people on top of people. You didn't have, buses and train. All of this is just mass confusion. And so I just bring that up to say that, as you can see, Esau is flooding the media, which is a medium, to where these devices, which is part of his miracles, which is his technology, can now influence the people on a global scale with these psychological operations. Here recently, you had Charlie Kirk that was shot, and then you had some women that were strangled. Some were stabbed, right? Maybe last year this time, or the time before that, you had the knockout game. You had people walking around the streets just knocking out people, right? All of these things, as they continue to increase exponentially, the crux of this lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua is to protect yourself at all times. Being more intentional on what you're doing, when you're doing it, how long you're doing it, who you're doing it with, and back to the Bayath expeditiously. So let's start here. This is Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 13. It says, but all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light, for whatsoever doeth make manifest is light. And Yahweh Shem Yahushai is correcting this place, which the word reprove goes into, and it's being made manifest that this world is evil. Yahushua said that, man. Okay? He said, and let's grab it real quick. He said, least their deeds be reproved. Okay? One second. This is John chapter 3 and verse 18. Yeah, let's start at 18. This is John 3 and 18. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he had not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of Yahweh. And this is the condemnation. And I'm going to grab that word here, condemnation. It says that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. Okay? It says because their deeds were evil. So this is going to show you what's going on. This is John 3 and 20. It says, for everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. So back in Ephesians 5 and 13, it says, but all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light, which is the truth of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Prophets of the Lord have been out on the highways and byways telling you about this damn devil, telling you about his miracles, telling you about his technology, telling you about his psyops, telling you about his paid actors, telling you about how all of this thing is a playbook, man. Okay? All of this is smoke and mirrors, man. Okay? Bread and circus. But it's also prophecy being fulfilled and Babylon being brought low. Okay? It says back in Ephesians 5 and 14, wherefore he saith, awaketh thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Hamashiach shall give thee light. Boom. There it is. Okay? Come out of this stupor. Come out of this sorcery, this spell that's been cast over our people, and come into this light, come into this truth, your identity, your heritage, the names of Yahweh Yahweh Shai. Okay? That is the ultimate correction to lead to the direction of salvation. Verse 15, and this is the topic. It says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil," man. Okay? So I wanted to get that word there, condemn. Let me grab this word here. And it says, "And this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil." Let's grab this word here, condemnation.
Strong's G 2920, krisis. Krisis.
It says sentence of condemnation, judgment, condemnation. It says, a trial, judgment. All right. Let's grab the etymology real quick. It says to sentence, to blame, to condemn. Okay. It says to judge or pronounce to be unfit for use or service. Okay. So when you condemn something, you're telling people that this is the reason why it doesn't have a benefit, because it's evil. Okay? So protect yourself at all times. How do you do that? Quick precept. Let's just grab it here. This is Ephesians 6, verse 10. It says, "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might," which is that light, which is truth. Okay? "Put on the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil." It says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Verse 13, "Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand." And that's exactly what's going on, man. Nothing but evil is ensuing, but it's also increasing. Okay? So be circumspect. Keep that whole armor on tight. Okay? Protect yourself at all times. Okay? Because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Okay? And these wiles of the devil, and let's grab that real quick, goes into that, the trickery. Okay? It says methodia.
Strong's G 3180, methodia. Methodia.
It says cunning arts, deceit, craft, trickery. And let's not forget the whole Epstein thing, has been put to the side. Trump's involvement with Epstein has been pushed to the side. Trump getting shot, all of this is MAGA, man. Okay. Which is a root for magician. Okay. which is a cunning art, which is deceit, which is craft, which is trickery. Scripture says that he was going to be loosed for a season to do what? To go out to deceive the nations. Okay? And I'm not saying that all of these things are still not relevant. Little buddy got shot. You know, that Edomite chick got slaughtered. But more and more of this is going to happen because Esau is going to utilize his media as a means to deceive the people into believing that they need more peace and safety. Okay? All of this is just a ploy, a snare, a trap, a gin. Okay? Revelation 20 and 3. It says, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. And that's the season in which he's in now. Okay. It's just a little season, but he went out to, the point is to deceive the nations through that trickery, right? Through that sorcery. These are the things that the devil would do through the wiles of the devil. Okay. Let me read verse 8. Hold on. Let me jump back up. This is Revelation 20 and 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them to the battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So, yeah, all of these things are leading up to war. And I want to say, Trump just changed the name of the Pentagon to the Office of Defense. Let me see real quick. Salakia. Pentagon name change. Because we're in evil times. Okay. Department of War. Trump rebrands Department of Defense as Department of War. Because we're in a spiritual war. Okay? We're in a battle. I'm going to read it again. This is Ephesians 6 and 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That wrestling is not just a one-time affair. Okay? As you can tell, okay, there's all types of wrestling, okay, in which the prophets of the Lord the hopeful elect are doing against this spiritual wickedness, man. Okay? And as more and more brothers are showing, we're in some crazy, wild times. But it's all through prophecy. Okay? The elder Malcolm says reciprocity is coming violently from heaven, man. So I'm going to hit a couple of other quick precepts and I'm going to wrap it up. But brothers can see, man, the time is nigh. Okay? Prophecy is on our side, man. You know? But stay diligent, Akim. And protect yourself at all times. Okay? Because this is still light work. Okay? There's going to be more and more of this Matter of fact, let's just read that. This is because I wanted to grab this a second ago. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15. Oh, it was right here. And 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." And when you get this word here, sedition, it says a crime involving speech, writing, or actions intended to incite rebellion or resistance against lawful authority with the goal of disrupting or overthrowing the government. Civil war is like literally kickoff is in they putting the football on the tee, man. Okay? Even though they don't do that anymore. That's not the point. Point is, it's civil war is here. All of these rallies, right? All of the things in which the hellfire missiles bouncing off the chariots. Like, the chariots arriving, or actually been here, but making themselves more known. Okay. These are the things that are going to bring sedition. Okay. All across the board. You got people losing jobs. You got AI taking over. It says, and people invading one another. Okay. It's going to be the spiritual swords versus the carnal swords. Okay. And we already know that the carnal sword is the weakest. Okay. So, yeah, let's hit a couple quick scriptures. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 4, verse 37. It says, "By measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times, and he doeth not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled." And that's what we're seeing, man. We're seeing all of the things in which the scriptures talked about now being made manifest by the light. Okay. This is Isaiah chapter 2, verse 12. "For the day of the Lord of Yahweh, Salakia. For the day of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua of hosts, shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low." Okay. And these are just, like I said, these are just whispers. Okay. The ensuing judgment is close. All right. Because that's what's coming next. Once again, you see all these chariots showing up. The chariots ain't showing up, like an auto show. Back in the day, they used to have the auto shows. People show up like, "Oh man, it was nice rims." This is time of war. Okay. Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7. "For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Only he who now let it will let until he be taken out of the way." You saw the so-called white man, the same one that's proud, same one that's lofty, same one that's arrogant. Okay. People used to think that all of this is just random stuff happening. Nope. That's the mystery of iniquity. Okay. But he's now being revealed. He's now being taken out of the way. Okay. He's going to be revealed. Then he's going to be taken out of the way. All right. This is Isaiah 59:19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Okay. Yeah, so that's our protection, man. This truth. Okay. Everything in which Esau is going to use is going to be carnal. Sorcery, witchcraft, media. Okay. But our power, okay, Yahweh by Shemi Awashai, that's what we need, man. That is our protection. That's the armor. Okay? That is the armor. Okay? This is Jeremiah 30:7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Okay? It's got to be trouble. Scripture says, with much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom of Yahweh by Shemi Awashai. So all of these things have to come to pass. Okay? But it says, but he shall be saved out of it. Okay? See, that's the spirit. This is only going to stir up civil war and heighten Esau's hate for Jacob. And even though they put a Edomite old man as the gunman, that don't matter. Esau can spin this thing however he so choose. Okay? So, yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I mean, these are exciting times in which we're in, Akim. These are very exciting times. As scripture says, the righteous shall be scarcely saved. Okay? The righteous are going to be scarcely saved. So it's going to be trouble. But we have the answers, which is prophecy, which is belief in Yahweh by Shemi Awashai. So the power that we've been given, use it. Okay? Use the protection that Yahweh by Shemi Awashai has given. Use the protection that Yahweh by Shemi Awashai has given us. Because this protection is the only way. And that protection is Yahweh Shai. Okay? So, Lord will, this lesson was edifying for the elect. And until next time, I'm going to say,